Welcome back to Spring Into Math 5. I'm Mr. Stein. Today we're talking finding volume using unit cubes. Okay, so let's take a look at this scenario, kind of look at it in depth, and then we'll go back to it after we've kind of worked on how to find volume and answer it. Okay, so Jerry's assignment in his carpentry class is to build a wooden storage container that will hold at least 48 cubic units of material. So Jerry has already started on the rectangular container, which is 4 units wide and 2 units long. Now, Jerry isn't sure what height the container should be in order to hold the volume of 48 cubic units. Okay, so how can Jerry use this information to determine the height of the container? So in this concept, you're going to learn how to identify the volume of prisms using cubic units, or units cubed, excuse me. Now, volume is the amount of space inside a solid figure. All right, so you can see my solid figure here. These cubes make up a rectangular prism. Now, the cubes represent the volume in the prism. So the prism is 5 cubes by 2 cubes by 1 cube. So in other words, it is 5 cubes long by 2 cubes high by 1 cube wide. Now, you can multiply each of these values together to get the volume of the rectangular prism. So, if we just multiply all three of those values, 5 times 2 times 1, well 5 times 2 is 10, 10 times 1 is 10, so it's 10 cubic units. So the volume of the rectangular prism is 10 cubic units, or units cubed. Now, the units are cubic units because you're multiplied the units 3 times when you multiplied the height, the length, and the width. Just like squared was length times width, you had 2 units, that's why you did the square. Well, this time you're doing cubed because you're using 3 different units. Now, here's another prism. So first, to figure out the volume of this prism, we need to identify the measurements. So you can see here we have 6, 6, and 6. We have a length of 6, a width of 6, and a height of 6. So next, we substitute these values in the formula for the volume to solve. So our formula for volume is length times width times height. So we have volume equals length times width times height. So you just substitute them in. 6 times 6 times 6. So then I always like, as you guys know, to use that triangle strategy and work myself down to one answer. So I have 6 times 6 is 36. And as you can see here, I rewrite it right there. And then 36 times 6 is 216. So the volume of the cube is 216 cubic units. Now, what is the volume of this figure? So first, to figure out the volume of this prism, we need to identify the measurements. Okay, so let's take a look. All right, so if we go back to, if we go here and we take a look at this slide, you can see here that we have a length of 1, 2, 3, 4 across. All right, we have a width of 4, and we have a height of 3. So our units are 4, 4, and 3. All right, so next, we're going to substitute these values into the formula for volume, then solve. Okay, so we have volume equals 4 times 4 times 3. Now, for me, I'm going to multiply 4 and 3 first to give me 12 because I know my multiples of 12. So then I'm going to have 4 times 12, and 4 times 12 is 48. So then I'm going to have 48 cubic units, or units cubed. All right, now, so let's try a few more. All right, so let's take a look at this one. So again, here we have our prism, and so we have a length of 2 times a width of 1 times the height of 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so again, I'm just going to use that triangle strategy. Well, 2 times 1 is 2, and I'm going to rewrite it times 5, even though it's simple, and 2 times 5 is 10. So we have 10, let me erase that, let me write a little clearer for you guys. So we have 10 units cubed, okay? All right, now we have this one. So again, we're going to identify our measurements. So we have 2 times 2 times 4, because really what you're looking for is all 3 of the different sides. You're going to take those measurements and multiply them together. So then again, we just use that triangle strategy and work ourselves down. 2 times 2 is 4, and I'll rewrite times 4, and 4 times 4 is 16. So in this time, it's actually inches, so I'm going to have inches cubed, because you're going to use the measurement if you can. All right, let's try another one. So in this one, you can see I have 1, 2, and 4. So 1 times 2 times 4. Well, 1 times 2 is 2, times 4, and 2 times 4 is 8. So I have 8, and again, inches, because that's the measurement provided, 8 inches cubed. Okay? So now, remember Jerry and the storage container he's building. So the container is 4 units wide and 2 units long. So when he learned about the volume requirement, all right, so he's already started, so now he has to get to 48. So the container needs to have a volume of 48 cubic units. So how can Jerry use this information to determine the height that the container should be? All right, so first, to figure the height of the container, you should identify the given measurements. Well, we already know we have a length of 2 and a width of 4, and so we're trying to figure out our height. Well, if you think about it, guys, we're just going to substitute in our values into our formula and then solve for our missing variable, or our missing number. So here we have 2 times 4 times, and we'll use h for height, equals 48. So then 2 times 4 is 8, so 8 times h is 48. So essentially I'm just saying 8 times what gives me 48, and 8 times 6 is 48, so the height needs to be 6 units. All right, so that's going to wrap up this lesson today. So really remember that when you're working with volume in cubic units, length times width times height. See you next time.